Hey, what's up? I don't know why I did. I feel like that was more exaggerated than I usually do it. But hey, what's up? Quick updates. Permanent test, passed that, thank the Lord. Was really nervous because I remember there was a specific question. Like everything was going well, right? I was just like, I felt like I was actually speed running the thing. I was like the sixth question was like, if you drink alcohol, what should you do? No, if you drink alcohol, something something, um basically it was meant to see like it was like A, you should never drive. B, it's okay because it's 0.06 alcohol concentration level, something alcohol concentration level, or C, I don't feel the buzz. So obviously it wasn't C. But the reason I was thinking B was that the 0.061 was I think instead of Maryland they said it was like 0.08 in the manual. So I was thinking, okay, obviously you should never drive. But if we're following the manual, then technically you're allowed to with 0.06. So maybe I misinterpreted it. That was wrong. I did B and it was wrong and I got really nervous, but kind of stuck the landing there. Permit is now acquired, so gonna start looking to driving classes, start driving soon. Um, Exciting, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of driving, but I think it's a helpful thing. It's a helpful skill to have, like swimming. Um, but yeah, besides that stuff, other stuff that are going on is the project, the Rio SGB VRAG project. Just to do a quick run through, I think it's been a bit since I've talked about it in detail. Um, for Student Government Board, what we do is we have like $1 million to allocate to clubs on campus, but we have a very strict manual code that we have to abide by as we allocate these funds. Now, some clubs don't actually, like, some clubs, there's some friction or confusion when it comes to understanding this manual allocation manual, we'll call it. So then what I was thinking was, let's say you have like an AI that can basically answer your questions about the manual, right? So instead of reading like a 15-page document, which doesn't sound like a lot, but a lot of people don't want to read a 15-page document and not know where like the exact information is. You can just ask an AI that like SGB provides. And the reason I used drag specifically is to reduce hallucination. 'Cause I didn't want to be a case of where like you're I don't want basically I just don't want misinformation, or I guess it would be, yeah, I think misinformation is the one that's unintentional. Either way, retrieval augmented generation, from how I understand it, basically chunks up the let's say the manual, right? And then it kind of like it does the whole vectorizing thing, makes into vectors so it's easy to achieve, I believe. And then from there you can actually like base the AI bases its answer based off that chunk. Right. So it kind of retrieves the answer from a specific chunk of data in the manual. So that makes it more accurate. But yeah, so that's the project. What I'm doing now, I did like version 1.0. I gotta send that to SGB people. My big problem with version 1.0 was that it was cool. I had stuff like you could ask the AI, it was accurate. You could even log if the answer was correct or incorrect, so I could see what's going on. But the issue was that I had to like run it from my computer. I didn't want that to be the case, obviously. For a demo, like how it works, but I want more people to test it out. I know I'm always gonna be in my room with my laptop, so I'm trying to move it. Now what I'm trying to do is try and move it to the cloud. I guess I don't know the proper terminology for this. This is kind of still relatively new to me. Um, and I was going to use Render because Render is like it was free. There's a free tier that I could use. But the issue was I think I was using for my embedding. Oh shoot, what model am I using for my embedding? I believe. Oh gosh, I hate talking about coding sometimes because I always feel like I'm getting what I'm saying is wrong. But what model am I using for my embedding? Yeah, I'm using like the Honeybean face embedding model. And that like apparently it uses a bunch of RAM to do that. And with render I had like access to only 250 megabytes of RAM. So then I couldn't use render. So now what I'm trying to do, I was looking for alternatives and I said, you know what, let me try AWS, Amazon Web Services. I feel like it's overkill. But I also really don't want to pay any money. I just want to try. My main goal is just to get this not on my laptop. I don't like anyone to access it from everywhere, anywhere. But I also don't want to have to be running it from my laptop. Um, and the other services, some of them are also free, but then they also have like restrictions with the amount of RAM you would have access to. And there's ways for me to get around using the Hugging Face model for the embedding, but I don't want to do that because I really like this model and I'm fine with this. I really want to try using AWS because it's a skill that I think I'm going to need in the future. So I might as well play with it now. I do remember with a bunch of internship applications, there were times when they asked, "Have you ever used like AWS before?" And I think I had to say no. So technically now, um, as of like 7 p.m. today, I have. I'm still working on it because it does seem pretty complex, and I'm just trying to get to host on AWS. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a doozy. I guess that's the term that I could use. I am excited though. I think it's a really fun project. Hoping to wrap this up in the next couple of weeks. I think end of May we can have a solid. I think even earlier than that, but like end of May have a solid thing to work on, and we can just make improvements from there. The UI I think is I think after I can host this on AWS, then I think I can actually start looking to the UI just to make it more like accessible and like engaging and just better in general. And I also had to implement the chat interface, and obviously I had to like do a video where I show the actual things. I'm talking about it, which is cool, but there's a lot of stuff that are official, and I have to kind of show that. But with the chat, so right now the way it works is like you just make a query, and it's like, okay, hey, tell me about this, and it tells you about it, but you can't like keep on, you can't have like a steady conversation with the model, with the system. So I want to try and implementing that. But yeah, besides that though, I have nothing else to say. So have a great day.